It starts with a call, the kind that makes your stomach drop before you even know why. A 911 operator listens, voice steady, while panic pours through the line like static. Investigators try to piece it together, because one call can hide an entire nightmare. One night, on Long Island, a young woman walks fast, checking behind her, gripping her phone. She stops. Something feels wrong, like she's being watched, even in the quiet. Ahead is a gated beach community, beautiful, expensive, and strangely empty at night. She rushes to a door, desperate, searching for anyone to open up. Her phone slips and hits the porch. Seconds suddenly feel loud in the silence. She snatches it back and runs, breathing hard, fear taking over every decision. She bangs on another door, pleading, while a neighbor freezes, confused, unsure what's real. Inside, he hesitates, then reaches for his phone, trying to do the right thing fast enough. And then there's nothing but fog and distance. The street swallows her footsteps. She veers toward the marsh, pushing into reeds where lights can't follow. Days turn into posters, calls, and questions, a family begging the world to look closer. Detectives open files, stack evidence, circle details, yet the story refuses to settle. Radios crackle, maps go up, teams move, because missing is a race against time. One location becomes a line on a map, and that line keeps pulling them back. The search shifts to the coastline. Brush, reeds, long stretches that hide too much. Weeks become months. The case goes quiet, but quiet doesn't mean over. A detective closes the folder, frustrated, until a new lead forces it back open. Winter arrives. The landscape changes, but the questions stay sharp. Search teams return with a canine, trained to find what humans miss. The dog pulls toward the reeds, nose low, focused, like it's following a trail you can't see. Suddenly, it stops, ears up, body tense. Something is here. The detective kneels, parts the grass carefully, and in that moment, he realizes this is bigger than one case.
The coastline turns into a sealed-off world. Tape, flashing lights, wet wind, and the kind of silence that doesn't feel natural. Back at the station, the detective starts building it out. One card, then another, until the board becomes less evidence and more a warning. The connections tighten. The distance between points feels too small. And the worst thought creeps in: this didn't happen once. Out in the field, the search line moves through the reeds, slow and careful, every step controlled. Someone signals to stop. The detective kneels and parts the wet grass like he's afraid of what he'll find, not because it's graphic, but because it's real. A gloved hand seals an evidence bag with a cold, final click. A simple sight sketch follows, clean and clinical, the way professionals survive horror by turning it into procedure. In another room, the 911 operator listens again, not on a busy call floor, but in silence, replaying the panic until it feels like it's in the room with her. And in a flash, the night returns. Shanann in the fog, phone close to her face, eyes wide, reaching for help that never comes. A neighbor stands behind a half-open door, frozen between fear and disbelief, trying to understand what he's seeing, because in that moment, nobody knows what's happening, only that it's wrong. Then, the night itself hits like a jolt, a porch light flaring through the mist, shadows slicing across the frame. Cut to the hard side of the story, an interview room, one hanging lamp, a table, and the detective sliding a card forward like a silent question. The case tries to disappear into storage, boxes, dust, blank labels, but the family refuses to let it die. Media pressure rises, cameras crowd in, and the investigation shifts into a new phase, the lab. Bright, sterile light, gloves, a microscope. Quiet, precise work, because somewhere inside the details, a breakthrough is waiting. In the lab, the light feels too bright for what they're trying to confirm. A monitor glows with clean, clinical shapes, and then a result lands like a cold wave. Not celebration, not relief, just that tight feeling in your chest when you realize this isn't random. The pattern is real. Connections form, one after another, until the case stops being noise and starts looking organized. Outside, the night looks different with that knowledge. Rain on asphalt, streetlights stretching into streaks,
A dark vehicle moves through the frame. Not proof by itself, but a visual that matches the fear people have carried for years. Back inside, the task force tightens up, sleeves rolled, coffee everywhere. A thick folder hits the table like a reset. No more drifting. Then the evidence arrives in volume. Sealed bags, stacked boxes, devices in clear plastic with blank labels. It's not flashy, it's worse. It's scale. And then the world catches up all at once. Cameras, microphones, flash bursts like lightning. A man in a suit appears in the public frame, stiff, unreadable, and for a second it feels like the end is finally in sight. But inside the system, it's colder than the headlines. Redacted pages, quiet hallways, the detective flipping a sheet and stopping mid-motion because the consequences are real. The story is moving, but it doesn't feel finished. So the film breathes. Dawn over the water, soft light on the reeds. The coastline looks peaceful, and that calm feels cruel because you know what that quiet has been hiding. The 911 operator sits alone for a moment, like the fear still echoes in her headset. A neighbor stares out a dark window with regret heavier than sleep. And back at the desk, the detective taps a matching line on 2 pages, like he's touching the edge of the truth. In a warm, dim room, a woman turns a photo album page with blank faces, grief handled carefully like glass, because this case isn't theory, it's missing seats at tables. The ocean rolls in again, steady and indifferent. And when the question card appears, it lands the same way every time. Even if one answer arrives, how many pieces are still missing? A flower lands beside a candle, placed carefully like a promise. Not a statement for cameras, a private ritual that says, "You're still here with us." Then the coastline returns, in soft morning light, almost peaceful, and that calm feels like an insult, because this place can look beautiful while hiding the worst parts of the story in plain sight. Time keeps moving anyway. A clock hand sweeps forward, nights blur together. In a break room, under harsh fluorescent light, the 911 operator pulls off her headset and rubs her temples, like the panic is still trapped under her skin. Somewhere else, a neighbor stares out a dark window, regret heavier than sleep, replaying the same moment again and again. The door, the confusion, the fear, and the thought that maybe one decision could have changed everything. Back at the desk, the detective refuses to let the facts drift apart. He slides pages side by side, tapping a matching line like he's touching the edge of something real. In a quiet room lit by one lamp, the family turns a photo album page. Blank faces, empty spaces, a life interrupted. Because this case isn't an internet mystery to them. It's a missing seat at the table. The ocean rolls in under a faint waveform, as if the story is still speaking in echoes. A question hangs there, refusing to settle. Even if you catch someone, do you ever get the whole truth? The detective stands by the window, half lit by moonlight through blinds, holding the weight of what's known and what still isn't. Then the pace shifts. The final chapter begins like a warning. Icons, flashes, a sudden return to the night. Shanann in fog, phone close to her face, trying to be heard. The operator listens again, stuck between protocol and helplessness. The neighbor sits in silence, the same regret circling. And then, a call, a reaction. A woman's face changes, not into relief, but into cautious hope that hurts to feel. The task force moves, keys in hand, folder grabbed, decision made. A night drive cuts through rain and streetlight glare. A search scene unfolds inside a quiet house. Devices, bags, careful hands, everything sealed and cataloged. A glove snaps tight, sharp, clinical, final. A screen glows with confirmation. No cheering, no music swell, just the cold moment when the case shifts from maybe to real. And outside, the world erupts. Cameras, flashes, noise. A man in a suit appears in frame, stiff, unreadable, while the detective watches the storm and knows one thing: this isn't the end. So he goes back, pins another card, adds another piece, and the pattern tightens again. For the family, the moment doesn't feel like victory. It hits like a crack in a wall that's been holding pressure for years. Shock, grief, and a fragile kind of hope all at once. The memorial returns at dusk. Candles, flowers, quiet wind off the water. No speeches, just presence. In a